Kit Kats can read.
Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my TBR. Now, as always, just to explain, for each month I have various challenges and I always have a vast amount of books that I set for each month, and that is purely so that I can choose from that amount of books. That way I feel like I'm not getting too stressed. I'm sticking to my TBR because there's more of a selection, and I'm just honestly picking and choosing from that pile of books, and I'm actually really enjoying doing this way. So if you're sort of thinking, Katie, how are you going to read like 20 books in the month of March? Well, I'm not, unless I'm simply reading a book each day, which is impossible for me just because of like my life and my job and that, which, you know, it would be amazing if I could. That would be great, not gonna lie, but it's just so that I can select, like, for example, like 5 books from that pile of 20, and then my reading is done. So enough waffling and let's get started. So each month I do a random.org selection where I place all of the amount of young adult books that I've got into the generator, and a number comes out. So I'll place the picture over here what number came out this time, and then I'll also place a picture of my little notebook where I have written down the books next to numbers. So the book that you can see that came out was Lies Beneath by Anne Greenwood Brown. So that's a book that came out for random.org. Next challenge is a book that came out of my ebook jar. I do have an ebook TBR jar, which is absolutely massive because I have loads of ebooks, but I also have the physical book of this, so that was handy as well because my physical pile of books is just crazy. But the sequel actually came out, which I only have the first book, so I'm literally just reading the first book, but I do have the first book as an ebook too, so it's still going to count. It's a short book, which is great too, and this is Children of Eden by Joey Graceffa, and I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about this, but it just sounds like right up my street, and like I say, it's a really short book, so it shouldn't take me long to get read, so it'll be a good book to plonk onto this month. So a book that I pulled out of my TBR jar is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which was quite weird because this has been on my February and my January TBR because I put it towards a 52-week challenge, which is to read a young adult bestseller. And so pulling this book literally out of my TBR jar, I'm like, this is kind of a sign. 2 books I've selected out of my 18 books to read in 2018 for the month of March is You Had Me at Hello by Mary McFarlane, and I pulled out The Queens of Geek by Jen Wild, so a young adult book and a chick lit book. My TBR jar challenge for the month, basically I have a little jar and I pull out one challenge for each month, and this month's challenge is to read a book by a female author, so I put Beauty Queens by Libba Bray along with this challenge, and this is also a book that's in my 18 books to read in 2018. My review ebook for this month is The Final Six by Alexandra Manier, which was in my March anticipated releases, so I do actually have this as an e-arc to review, and I've selected this one to read for this month, so I'm really excited about that. So I've selected 4 books for my 52-week challenge for this month, because obviously 4 weeks each month, and so one challenge is to read an old review book. For this one I selected Mafiosa by Catherine Doyle, which was also a book that I pulled out of a monthly recommendations, which I believe I pulled out in January, so it would be good to actually get this read. But I've owned this since it was released, and I don't know why I'm holding off reading it because it's the last book that's in the trilogy. I have a real bad habit of doing this, so it would be good to get this read this month. The next 52-week challenge is to read a book with a 5-word title, so for this one I put Secrets of a Teenage Heiress by Katie Birchall. This is her new and hilarious novel, and as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words in the title. The next 52-week challenge is to read a book with a topic that you're passionate about. For me, I'm quite passionate about things like survival, and especially in a sort of like a dystopian world, so I put like a dystopian book towards this, which is The Scorched Trials by James Dashner. This is something I'm very passionate about. I love reading books about how people survive in certain circumstances. And the last 52-week challenge is to read a book that was recommended, and I thought this would be perfect because Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco has been recommended by so many of you booktubers that have read this book and have said it's amazing, including like the sequel and all that, so I thought this would be perfect. My 2 monthly recommendations for the month: first of all, Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. So I managed to pull this book out for this month, and I'm really excited about it because I've heard absolutely amazing things about it. And the other book I own on Kindle, and that is Dear Martin by Nick Stone, and this is a book that I've heard people talk about too. Two books that I'm aiming to reread this month. One definitely is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, which is book number 3 in the Mortal Instruments series. I am reading this along with Dane Cobain, Damien and Lisa, and we are reading this all together, some for the first time, some it's a reread. For me it's a reread. I don't remember anything about this book, so it would be good to actually get this book read and reread and dive into it. I loved reading the second book along with everybody. It's just interesting to see all of our opinions together, like what we liked, what we didn't like and that sort of thing. I just love this series all in all. But yeah, really excited to give the third book a reread. And then the other book I've just kept on, Wicked by Jennifer Armentrout, which is the first book that's in the Wicked trilogy. I own the second and third book, so that's why I would like to reread this so that I can complete the trilogy eventually. But this is her new adult paranormal series, and yeah, I loved the first book when I first read it, and I feel like I'm going to love it again when I read it for the second time. And then I've placed on a recent purchase of mine, which I've chosen The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, purely because I've had nothing but fantastic things about it. I'm really in the mood for a thriller, and I am looking forward to diving into this. Next of all, I'm just going to quickly share with you some review books that I've got that's coming quite recently that I'm going to be picking and choosing from. The first of which is Sunflowers in February by Phillida Shrimpton. I'm told this is for fans of John Green, and it sounds fantastic. The next of all, I'm so excited and I'm definitely going to read in the month of March, and this is More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a sort of companion novel to Letter to the Lost, which I recently read, and purely because this has got a character called Rev in it, so this is Rev's story, and it's a lot chunkier than Letter to the Lost, but I love Letter to the Lost so much, so freaking much, that I really want to read this. I've then also got Scythe by Neil Schusterman, which I've got for review. I've then got A Jigsaw of Fire and Stars by Yaba Bado, which also came in recently for review. I've got The Astonishing Colour of After by Emily X. Harpan, which comes out the end of March, which sounds effing fantastic. I've then got Perfect by Cecilia Ahern, which is the sequel to Flawed. And then I've also got The Course of True Love and First Dates by Cassandra Clare, which is a shorter mini-story from the Bane Chronicles, because it's like a Magnus Bane story, so I'm looking forward to this one. So those were some review books. I'm now going to quickly whiz through the books that were on my previous TBRs that I can select from as well, because they go towards challenges, monthly recommendations and that sort of thing. So the first of which is Carve the Mug by Veronica Roth, 6-4 by Hideo Yokoyama, Desires of the Dead by Kimberly Derting, The Bells by Donielle Clayton, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rao, Good and Gone by Megan Lakemore, Bird Box by Josh Malaman, Allegiant by Veronica Roth, 20 Questions for Glory by Martin Bedford, Pretty Deadly by Joe Schreiber, and last but not least, Nemesis by Brendan Wright. So they all went towards challenges for February and January, a bit of mix and that sort of thing, so I can be picking and choosing from those as well. Like I say, it's a massive selection of books, but I'm very excited to read a lot of these, even like books from like my previous pile. Like I'm just like go through phases of what I really want to read, but to be honest, I'm in the mood for any sort of book at the moment, so time can simply tell what's gonna happen. But you should find out in my weekly reading vlogs. If you watch those, that's what books I do select and read. I'm very excited that March is hopefully going to be a better reading month for me, but February has felt way too short in my opinion, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a lot better. So yeah, that's all for my TBR. If you've read any of the books that I've put on my TBR or from my previous TBRs that I've mentioned, tell me down below in the comments what you thought about the books. If there's any books that you're like, oh my god, okay, yeah, I love that book, you need to read that next, then do let me know down below as well, because it will most likely spur me on to give it a read. If more people say that it's good, I'm more likely to give it a read. So yeah, I'm very excited for the month of March. I hope you guys are excited too. Do let me know down below in the comments also what you are planning on reading in the month of March. But thank you very much for watching my videos. Always give me a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. I upload videos all the time, so if you're new to my channel and you would like to see more videos, then please do subscribe. It will honestly make my day, and I'm always here for you guys. I love you so much. So keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My name is Katie, and I'll see all of you wonderful, awesome people in my next video. Bye!